Yeah, so listen, I'm a size medium, but I'll take a large every now and then. Yeah, okay. And JB is a size extra large, so make sure you send one for both of us. If you, sorry, we're on. Bye. Sorry, JB, my bad.
What are you up to there, Frank? You going
Well,
shopping or something? It looks like you got some new. We got some new shirts rocking this week. Or
yeah, well, I am swag central. Apparently, I have a crap load of stuff to send to you. I think that's the official term for over the next couple of weeks, as we've been getting
sure.
lots of inquiries. See, Mike Palazzo, coach down at Montclair, sent us these polos and a new T-shirt and wristband also, and. That was a surprise. We've had other schools inquiring this week after seeing this swag, and I'm going to be redoing that wall back there for season 14. So whatever folks want to send us, now's the time, because in June we're going to be kind of going through it, getting it fixed up, making things look right around here, like a Division III video show should look like. What do you think?
Sounds good. I might have to fix my background too. I mean, I am rocking the Quinn Minard shirt. He's going to be drafted probably in 2 weeks. I think right now he's actually doing a pro day up in Wisconsin Whitewater. So we wish him luck. There's been a track record, Frank. Now since 2015, there's about I don't know, like four, maybe soon to be five guys in the NFL who came from the D3 ranks. Starting with our good friend Ali Marpet. I mean. Maybe guys like Ben Barch and Matt Gono aren't household names because they didn't block for a guy named Tom Brady, but there is a proven track record of these big guys, and Quinn certainly seems to fit the mold. Will he break the record, though? Will he get picked before number 61? That's a big question, and a lot of draft experts seem to think that he could, but it's kind of hard to believe in a way, Frank, that a guy with no senior season kind of went through COVID. I mean, obviously shined at the Senior Bowl. But either way, whether he gets picked in the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever round, we wish him well, and hopefully we'll talk to him maybe with Allie, a couple weeks down the road as we kind of wrap things up after the spring season's finally over.
Well, look, I think the notion for draft and signing ability for D3 players was if you were a really, really good player, because there's a lack of players compared to normal from Division One. Some schools didn't play, so not everybody
True.
is out there. You would have a real chance, but in the converse, I guess, if you didn't have a real good resume coming in, there's no way you're going to get seen or picked because they want to see the on-the-field level. So Quinn Miners had the ability, and it's not that he lucks out, but I think he has a better than average chance to go high because of the situation that we're seeing right now, and he'll make the most of it, and he is making the most of it with his skill and ability right now. So it's interesting to watch how this all plays out. There's still a lot of guys from last year that still deserve chances in the big NFL's
The big leagues.
spotlight. Yeah, they're looking for spotlight.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, we also have to look forward because there's plenty of guys coming into this situation over the next couple of years, and how to navigate it. It's going to be really tough. We'll have to have Mr. Riddleman back on to talk about his showcase next year probably, and see what his thoughts and ideas are, because last time we talked to him was pre-COVID. Unfortunately, they still were going through some stuff this year, and we'll see where it goes. Anyway, it's Thursday. It's not Friday. We're going live. We figured that since I have to do a closing tomorrow, I really am a lawyer, folks. I swear.
Job, man. Gets in the way of In the Huddle. What the heck?
We need to go live, and we need to run our intro. Here we go. It's season 13 of In the Huddle. Oh wait, it's over. Sorry.
Yeah.
Hey, listen. It took some ingenious thoughts one day to dubstep up our original theme song a little bit into that, and I kind of like it. I think it's befitting
Catchy.
college football podcast. Anyway, folks, we have a lot of games that have not canceled yet. I guess is the way we should say it. We have a lot of games that did cancel.
Yeah, it's starting. So we figured we might as well do it now and see if we actually get close to the right number. I think before today we were flirting around 30, and now we're down to 22. We'll see if we go below 20 before Friday night is over, but fingers crossed. Have some big games this weekend to sort of what I call the first part of the grand finale of spring D3 football.
Well, let's go right into it here. What's left, and we'll comment on what's not on this list when we go through it here a little bit. One really disappointing omission is going to be the Aurora game. We just learned before we started this. That's gone.
Yeah, and I actually misspoke. I misspoke in the podcast earlier this week because it was a little confusing because the NACC had canceled what was effectively their semifinal games, and that's when I thought the sort of the playoff matchups would be set up. And then all of a sudden they announced, well, no, actually what we're going to do is have the North and South Division champions, Aurora and Lakeland, play each other on this Saturday. Well, press release just came out. That game's off. So I guess the good news for those two teams is that they finished the season undefeated, but they never really had a chance to kind of get on the field and see who was the best of this group of the NACC, which is a shame because it was been fun watching Gavin Zimbelman play these last few weeks and kind of getting to know him. Although I'm sure you kind of heard about him before with the whole Ghilardi Trophy. I think he was a semifinalist back in 2019. Will probably be on the national radar come this fall. But that's a shame because that was a championship caliber game that we're not going to get. But COVID or other protocols notwithstanding, so be it. We at least do have one guaranteed championship game on Friday night, which should be really great.
Well, let's go to the schedule. I'm going to let you run through it real quick here, what we do have on it, and put it up on the screen here. We can get it down to one page. That's the good news. So go right ahead.
Okay. Well, as you can kind of see, Frank, a lot of the usual suspects on the left-hand side, the Pennsylvania Athletic Conference or the PAC, a full slate of games that's leading up to their crossover championship that's going to happen next weekend. So we'll have more on that next week. But obviously the big matchup that everyone's been talking about, Heidelberg and Mount Union for the OAC, Ohio Athletic Conference title on Friday night. Unfortunately, the undercard of John Carroll at Ohio Northern was just canceled. That would have been a great matchup. It always is every year. But we have a couple of games between Wilmington and Marietta and Muskingum and Otterbein, which should be solid as well. The HCAC, we've learned, basically is just kind of going to go into the clubhouse after this weekend. Hanover is not going to play Anderson. That game is canceled. Manchester is coming back after 2 or 3 weeks off to host Mount St. Joseph. Defiance at Franklin should be a good game, but Rose Holman at Bluffton, Frank, is probably one of the better games of the weekend, and we'll talk a little more about that. Lake Forest and Coach Cat are traveling just down the road to Illinois College. And then we have a bunch of games on the right side in the Midwest, ranging from schools from South Dakota going to Illinois and Milliken at Carthage, which is an interesting game in the CCIW. Both of those teams are I think 2-0 and 1-0 respectively. The MIAA is back after a week's hiatus with a couple of games. The ARC went from 4 games to 1, so at least you got Nebraska Wesleyan at Co in the Midwest, and then Eureka at Concordia should be good, as well as I think the last game of the evening, Frank's going to be Wisconsin Lutheran at Benedictine at 8 o'clock on Saturday night. And then interestingly enough, we've got some crossover games, including some East Region schools. Lebanon Valley at Alvernia is being played on Sunday. That's a conference like MAC game. But then, as I said, some of the crossover, speaking of MAC, Wilkes is going to host Catholic, which is nice to see them back out there after a long hiatus. And then Wittenberg is traveling to a NIA school in Indiana called Taylor University, and Augsburg, who was supposed to play the University of St. Thomas, which is a former MIAC team, which is now going into the Pioneer League. Maybe I'll see them when they come down to play Stetson in the fall here in the Orlando area. But that Augsburg's UST game was canceled or postponed. Augsburg has pivoted, and now they are going to travel to Martin Luther to play them at 2 p.m. on Sunday.
Also missing from the schedule is Wesley hosting Lackawanna JUCO Community College. Lackawanna had a COVID issue, and let's just get the direct quote from Chip Knapp. Last night I had to send him a note asking him where that left things for them, and his answer was, unfortunately, that ends our season.
Yeah.
Sad but true. Not just their season, but Wesley football. If you haven't already, go watch or listen to rather the Around the Nation podcast that was released yesterday. That's Wednesday. Pat Coleman and Keith McMillan especially go through the Wesley situation with anecdotes, their own anecdotes and anecdotes from a bunch of people that have been affiliated with the program.
Former players, alums, also coaches. Yeah, it's great. So they basically play you a series of different voicemail messages that they left Pat on his phone, and a lot of great memories dating back to the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s from a wide variety of players. And we've certainly appreciated having some of those guys over the years on the show. And we hope the current Wolverines, hope whether it's Delaware State or wherever they end up landing, we wish them all the best of luck. It's a shame that this is happening. It's obviously going to probably continue to happen. Becker College closing down up in Worcester. And, I have a feeling, I think, and you said this to me off the air, but June could be a rough month for a lot of these smaller private colleges around the country. We could see a lot more teams closing down versus ramping up for the fall, which is unfortunate.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And it's, I think, we lost McMurray also. Occidental scrapped their football program. There's going to be some combination of, I think, scrapping of football programs and scrapping of schools altogether coming up here because of the COVID mess and budgets and everything else that goes into this, enrollment issues. So fasten your seatbelts. We're probably going to have to do shows this summer to talk about some of the carnage that will likely happen to some of our Division III compatriots out there, the schools out there. So, sad but true. It's reality. We got to face it. Something else we got to face. We had a question or comment really on Twitter that I woke up to this morning from somebody that was asking the question if we thought that some schools may have been holding the carrot of spring football out with no real intentions to play it in hopes of getting the enrollment to occur. My answer was it's not impossible. We had some of this in the fall, we think, going on, or at least late last summer, when it came to the fall term. It's possible that some schools may have oversold the idea that they were going to play spring football with that intention. Yeah. We hope it's not true. But at the end of the day, we also hope that students made the decision to go to school this term for the right reasons. I'm going to be also joining Russell Terry on his show down at Sports Radio 740 in Montgomery, Alabama, as I often do, right after this show is done. We're going to talk about the transfer protocol, transfer portal, protocol that will allow Division I athletes to not wait a year for transfers. This, to me, really is an interesting decision to do it now instead of a year ago. I think this stands a chance of killing some schools, even in Division I. Not every Division I school is on firm ground with their footing financially and all that stuff, folks. And this is going to cause a real shift in where players play, ultimately. I just don't like the smell of what could be coming up here when it comes to scholarship divisions and allowing this to happen willy-nilly at the end of the day. What's your take on it?
Well, I mean, I never purport to be an expert on all things NCAA because to me, there seems always a lot of smoke and mirrors. They sort of say one thing but mean another, or you can interpret the language in different ways. And a lot of it does seem that it comes out a little sort of too little too late. I mean, like you said, I think like you just said, Frank, I mean, this might have been more helpful last year, but the fact that it's coming now after a whole year of, hundreds of these different programs have had to be forced on the sidelines, whether it's because of their state governments or the individual schools' policies, it's going to create a lot of movement, I think, for good or bad. Because I think what we have seen in certain parts of the country is a greater willingness to find ways to play the game safely and keep the student athletes engaged and to get them back on campus and kind of understand what the risks truly are. And then there's other places where they've just kind of were like, nope, we're not going to deal with anything. We'll just wait this thing out. They say that they're following certain guidance and guidelines, but really what they're just doing is trying to avoid lawsuits and, keep people paying tuition without really providing much value other than just a video conference environment, sort of like what we're offering here. So,
yeah. Although we're more informative and exciting, I like to think that a Zoom class. We got one minor problem here, JB. You're a little too tall for the shot right now because you have to shrink a little bit. Nothing like live video. Better. You still got a little bit of a point on your head, but at least we can see your hairline now. That's good news. There you go. So we didn't start the clock. No, please. That would be really bad. We do want to see the Quinn Miner shirt, though. So once we're done with this, pop back up. Okay, or do that. There you go. The belly of the beast.
Thanks for a great cause.
8 minutes of the clock means that we got 8 games we have to decide on here. I'm going to let you go second here because I guess I went first, or you went first last week, so it's my turn to go first. And so that means I'm going to start the music, start the clock, and go with Millikin at Carthage. Tough one here. 2 teams that are doing decently in the CCIW. I'm going to give the edge to Millikin. And you know what I've noticed? The road teams have not fared tremendously through the spring season overall. It seems like we've had a lot more home wins than away wins. But I'm going to buck the trend here a little bit. Millikin beats Carthage 31-20.
Yeah, well, I mean, Carthage's only win is against a winless North Park, and Millikin's been pretty battle-tested with wins over Illinois Wesleyan and Augustana, so I'm going to agree with you once again, Frank. I'll take I think they're the Spartans, I believe, Millikin, to win this one. 35-27.
Thank you. Mac, Lev Val at Alvernia.
I mean, we haven't seen Lev Val at all. We've seen one game of Alvernia, and they hung in there okay against Stevenson. But yeah, I guess I'll give Lev Val the benefit of the doubt because they've had probably plenty of time to prepare for this, and so yeah, I guess they'll win a sort of a shootout. Let's say 37-31.
Alvernia looked like they were struggling against the Mustangs last weekend at Stevenson. I'm going to pick Lev Val. I was tempted to go Alvernia, but they just didn't have the right kick, it seemed like, in that game. Lev Val wins this one 24-17. Staying in the East, Catholic at Wilkes in a crossover game. Wilkes had a sensational 2019. I just don't see how you can pick against them right now, though Coach Gutt and company definitely were trying to get some games in the fall. They've been dedicated to getting this thing off the ground, and it's great to see them back in the field, and if they can pull the upset, tremendous. But Wilkes right now has got to be the favorite heading into this game based on 2019 situations and what we know about each of these teams. So I'm going to give this edge to Wilkes by a 37-30 score. It's going to be, I think, a score fest.
Yeah, I also like Coach Strzok and the Colonials, or Colonels rather, to win this one. Probably a big second half for them, so 45-35.
In the pack, Carnegie Mellon at Westminster. Westminster's been impressive, my friend. You pick.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Titans all the way. Just, too much up front offensively. I think they'll run the clock, run the ball. I'll take the Titans to win. Lower scoring game, though, probably 28-17.
Upset alert.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, whenever I do that, it is an oh boy. Carnegie Mellon. I think Westminster may be potentially in a position to look past this game. And Carnegie Mellon needs to really get their act together here, and I think this is the game where it happens. Carnegie Mellon wins 21-20 in a very close, exciting game. I hope it is close and exciting at the very least. I plan on watching this one when I have a chance when I'm down in the city tomorrow night. I go first on this one, which is Rose-Hulman at Bluffton. Bluffton bounced back in dramatic fashion last week. Rose-Hulman has kind of towed the line here very well with one loss, I believe, still in the HCAC. Bluffton's tough at home. There's no doubt. And their defense seems to be getting it back together again. I'm going to give the edge to Bluffton. 27-20.
Yeah, that's a good call because you are right. The Beavers are tough at home, but I guess I'll play devil's advocate. I'll take Rose-Hulman in a low-scoring defensive game. I think they'll eke it out at the end, sort of like what we saw Bluffton do to Defiance. So I'll even take the same score, 23-20. Rose-Hulman hangs in there.
In the Midwest Conference, our good friend Coach Cat at Illinois College.
I mean, Coach Cat would make me run laps if I didn't pick the Foresters. So I think they're with their punt return, special teams games, they'll find a way to win this one. It'll be closer than 27-2, but I'll take Coach Cat and the Foresters 21-10.
They got to get off to a better start than they did last weekend, and I'm going to blame the rain on that a little bit because of the elements.
Blame it on the rain, Frank. It's like a song I might have heard someday.
Yep. Can we get a strike on Facebook for even saying the lyrics on that? I don't know. Well, while William Tell's overture is playing in the background loud enough to be stricken, I guess. Anyway, Lake Forest wins. I just think that there's too much talent on that team right now. But Illinois College, you can't look past them. So it's going to be somewhat close. I say Lake Forest wins this 30-24. And it helps if I get the next game up here. And our friends in Concordia, Wisconsin, they loved it when we showed them the highlights, or showed the highlights of them a couple weeks ago. We showed more weekend, from last weekend. But Eureka had a hell of a game on Saturday. And so this is a tough one to pick. I'm going to go Concordia based on being home here, actually. I think they've been stronger at home. And they win this one, and we get to hear our favorite play-by-play announcer this fall go at it again, perhaps. I give it a 31-27 win, Concordia.
That's what I was thinking too initially, because James Lynn has been on fire for Concordia lately. But then if you look at the two different schedules, I mean, Eureka beat Rockford this past weekend by almost 20 points, and I think Concordia lost to those guys by like a touchdown. So, law of syllogism here on In the Huddle. I'll take Eureka. Then I guess they're called the Red Devils. So once again, I'll play devil's advocate and see if that similar opponent pans out. Who knows? We're gonna wait and see.
Give me a score.
35-21.
We unfortunately are down to 40 seconds here for what I probably would call the head versus heart type of pick situation. Heidelberg at Mount Union, the OAC Championship. 30 seconds on the clock. Be fast.
I mean, does Mount Union ever lose regular season games or championship playoff games? I mean, honestly, I think we could call a timeout on the clock here and just really make a case of what could Heidelberg do to have a chance at winning, because the Raiders have been so stacked for so long. I don't know, but I guess you kind of have to pick the Raiders just because they've been the team of the decades. I mean, but I want the Student Princes to win too because of everything they've gone through. It's too hard to call, Frank. We're out of time.
Decision. Make a decision.
If I'm trying to play to win this competition between you and I, 17-4, got to take the Raiders. It's just their track record speaks for itself. They always seem to find ways to win almost every single game that they play, no matter what. So,
is that what the record is, by the way?
The record?
Our record.
17-4. We're both 17-4. Yeah. So we've been right.
Wow.
Most of the time.
Holy cow. I didn't realize we were that good this season. more spring football, guys. Come on.
Yeah. But I mean, look at this, Frank. I mean, literally, Mount Union they won 11 games in 2019, 14 in 2018, 15-0 in 2017. Their worst season in the last almost 20 years was 12-2 in 2016. I mean, and that was the year they lost to John Carroll in the regular season. That was the last time they lost a regular season game, was all the way back on
2005.
Huh?
Was the previous time they lost in a regular season game. 2005.
Oh yeah, so yeah, it was November 12th, 2016. They lost 31-28.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. But, I mean, we're picking Mount Union. We're both picking Mount Union to win. That said,
Student Princes can pull it off.
Why not? The Marietta game is that asterisk thing for Mount Union, where what happened there, where they didn't blow out the team. But like you said, everybody's going to have a bad game where they still win by 2 touchdowns instead of 6 touchdowns. Do I think Heidelberg gets the wheels blown off in this whole thing?
No way.
No. Or doors blown off, or whatever your slogan
Maceo Matthews is going to be a factor in this game and could make things tough.
But here's the problem. You have defensive backs that can shut down a guy like Maceo Matthews. They need a good number 2 receiver to basically spread the defense. And I haven't
running game would help.
Well, who is it? Montavious Yerby, is it?
Yeah, I think that's right. Montavious sounds right, yeah.
I think he goes by Tay Yerby, actually, when we were listening to some of the audio, getting things together earlier in the week. But he can reel off a 50-yard run for a touchdown. But it takes 2 receivers, 2 quality receivers, and then the rest of your cast to be able to set off the defense a little bit. And that was my concern as I was thinking about this game, is that I think you're going to have a lack of spread for receiver coverage going on. So the over-the-top is always going to be cheating to Maceo Matthews' side. That's my guess, and I think they'll be successful at doing that. Take nothing away from Matthews. He's just an incredible athlete. But we'll see. We'll see where it goes. I pick Mount Union to win 37-20. You say?
Yeah, I think it'll be maybe like 31-17. It might be a little lower scoring, but and I think it will be close going into the fourth quarter.
That's predictions. Anything else that we want to talk about before we head into next week's shows?
Well, I'll give you a plug, Frank. So if anyone who's still watching, and I think it will be posted after the fact, but Sports Radio 740.com is where you can tune in to listen to Frank in about 15 minutes. If that NCAA stuff, and obviously this will immediately post onto the In the Huddle archive. And I can't believe we were up to 17 episodes of this spring, although I know it kind of dates back into the into the fall when you did the kind of on-site Secretary's Cup game. But it's been a fun run. I think we've probably got one or two more left in us because we do want to talk about the PAC Championship next weekend, and there'll be a handful of other games here and there. And but it's been a fun ride to do this, and I know you got your birthday coming up on May 2nd, so maybe for your birthday we can take a break from the show, so you don't have to worry about editing any more clips.
Well, look, I don't mind editing the clips. We get to do the live show, which means less editing for us coming into this one. But hey, Crunch Time's a labor of love. We pull out clips, show it to you on Twitter as well. So, if you do enjoy the stuff we do, folks, let us know. Let us know what you like or what you enjoyed most, because it's tough for us to gauge. We can see who's watching what for how long, not specifically who, but the quantity of people. But we can't see, I'm jumping to this part of the show or that part of the show. So let us know what you like, what you enjoy. And if you want to throw some swag in while you do that, feel free. Nonetheless, folks, we'll see you next week. Enjoy the games this weekend. Hopefully what we showed you earlier will play, but we'll see you next week.